Hello, greetings of the day. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity for this presentation. My name is Dr. Jeetesh KUMAR. I'm a senior lecturer at School of Hospitality Tourism and Events at Teles University, Malaysia. Also associate director at the CRET Services Center at Teles University, Malaysia. Thank you so much. The topic for this presentation is domestic tourism as a pathway to revive the tourism industry in a Malaysian context. What exactly is happening? Why we are focusing more on domestic tourism is all about the COVID-19. So before I give you some details the why domestic tourism is important compared to international tourism, or why should we have little more focus in the current time because of pandemic or without that also, we don't know what is the level of pandemic at the moment, but one thing is confirmed that this is not the only pandemic we have seen. Tourism industry have seen or got shocked or got disturbed due to several other pandemics in a real manner. So I will be giving you some aspects of pandemic, before pandemic, different other aspects of different disasters also. I will be having some comparison, and then I will come to the actual point of domestic tourism, and what's the story of domestic tourism in Malaysia at the moment during the pandemic, up mid of pandemic. So let me give you some details of what exactly happened to the tourism industry and how pandemic have disturbed our industry badly. Tourism is back to 1900 level as pandemic hits travel actually. Yes, this thing is one thing is very much clear that this is not the only first pandemic. We had a financial crisis, we had a SARS, we had other sort of epidemic or some disaster, natural disasters also, H1N1 also. But tourism industry it was not that badly affected, but COVID-19 have hit very badly now. Like we are back to the 19th century actually, where we have started from 400 million actually, and we are back to the same level or when slightly lower than that also. So due to that or some other reasons also, domestic tourism should be in a picture because international borders are closed and we have lots of new protocols which we have to follow. We have to follow several SOPs, etc., etc. Some details of last year or 2 years back when pandemic started in 2019 first quarter and then 2020 actually. But if we compare with the last year, which was 2021, it's actually totally different. We were expecting in 2020 that 2021 will be much better, but actually it went much more worse than 2020 also, because 2019 first quarter when pandemic hit, it went to the zero, or all the figures, arrival, receipt, everything was in a negative actually, because we are more into travel. But what we saw in the 2020, yes, somehow vaccine was out, people were more allowed, not international borders, but somehow we can say within the Europe, within some neighboring countries, Asian countries, or the new concept of bubble travel was introduced where the travel opened slightly. But in 2021 when we had a new variation of COVID-19, actually it hit worse, it hit very badly compared to 2020, and then it went more worse. But then we had a booster vaccine which can give us some enlight, some motivation that yes, we are almost reaching, there will have some end of pandemic, or we will find out some suitable way to live with it actually. Then, of course, as mentioned earlier in the previous slide, that COVID-19 hit very badly, and there was a downfall of 74% in inbound tourist arrival in 2020. Actually, so from 2019, it went down all the way to zero figures in 2020. The current scenario in the tourism industry is the when exactly we are expecting that we will be back to the same level of 2019 in several countries. So UNWTO have conducted several researches throughout the world actually, and they found out the 49% says that we are going to reach 49. For Middle East mentioned that 49% we will be achieving this level very soon actually. And if we talk about Asia Pacific or Europe, they mentioned 36%, America is 14%, and throughout the world is a 1% actually. Also below the bar you can see the number of years actually, that which year we are going to reach this. 2024 or later, that was a 49% given by Middle East actually. But if we talk about Asia Pacific and Europe, 2023 means not this year even actually. So 36% mentioned that we will be reaching only next year somehow to the same level of 2019, same situation of 2019 actually. But still we are not sure, because we cannot really predict for what's happening, because all of a sudden there is a new variation actually, new variant of COVID-19. Booster vaccine is also very effective in if I talk about Malaysia actually, millions of people are vaccinated and millions are already got booster, means a third dose of Pfizer or some other brand. But the thing is, borders are not open. Just yesterday night, a prime minister have confirmed that by 1st of March, international borders will be open. But again, it's a terms and condition applies. We don't know that borders will be open for entire world or some particular countries, some safe countries. Some is it a travel bubble for the neighboring countries? We don't know what's going to happen actually. So that is still on the 1st of March, and today if we say it's the 10th or 11th of February, so still there are number of days actually which can influence this decision actually, which can change this, which can showcase, which can force us to change this decision also. Going further, if we talk about the current scenario of tourism industry in a worldwide, actually, the traveler must prove their travel history, that where are they coming from, where they have been recently, and who they have been with, where they were staying, and so on. So these are the new questions actually, which we must have the answer if we want to travel. It's not only the visa and the passport or the valid ticket is required, or your bank statements, and you are affordable to travel in a particular destination, but along with that you have a new vaccination passport also, vaccine passport also, that card which confirms that you are vaccinated, and to avoid that quarantine durations, and so many other things which are newly introduced due to this COVID-19, which we haven't seen earlier ever. Then we have social distancing is being enforced in the different airport and flights. uh, of course, well, these are the new motives or the new factors which push us away from international travels actually. Of course, there is a scary part that we all are scared if in case we got stuck in a new destination because of COVID-19, because of those quarantine and so on, which really increase the price of our travel also. No touch facilities have been introduced. This is some, see, something is good, there is always pros and cons of everything. Technology has been introduced very drastically, something which we wanted to have or which we are supposed to have in next 5 years, we already achieved in these last 2 years, because of, we can say, thanks to COVID-19 actually. Hotel booking windows are very shorter. Earlier we can book for the next 6 months, next 1 year, or for the next year also I can book today. But now it's very short. Just book for next month or next 2 months only, because when we book we don't know. Well, several things were booked, but they were the lots of cancellation have been seen, or because of this lockdown, like MCO, EMCO, RMCO, so several lockdowns, movement control orders were introduced in different countries also. Domestic air travel has started to recover, yes, slightly. Countries have opened domestic tourism, like different states and different cities are safe to travel within the country, but it is not everywhere actually. Establishing better health safety and accepting digitalization, well, no touch screens is all digitalizations, plastic money, credit cards, QR codes, those are valid payments excuse me, wallet payments, and all those are accepted, are very well accepted actually. It was very common in China specifically, like, you know, roadside stall person also can accept the money through QR code actually, but it was not that accepted in Malaysia or in other countries, even in the developed countries actually, everywhere, even at the different outlets. Now it become a new norm, or it become a ritual that we have to follow it. Otherwise, we cannot survive in the industry. Tourism Malaysia, domestic tourism could grow 30% over next 6 months to a year actually, because as mentioned by the UNWTO research which was conducted, we are expecting next year, or in next 2 years or next 3 years actually, that we will come back, this tourism industry will recover. But when we compare the domestic tourism with the international tourism, why domestic tourism should be in a focus, or why it is in a focus, because it come back to the normal very fast. It doesn't require much time. People doesn't require much time to plan for travel, how we need to plan for international trips actually. Of course, COVID-19 have hit very badly to the domestic tourism in Malaysia, and it's like, with once in a 13 years that we went in a reverse in terms of domestic travel actually. It started from 2008, then 2013, 15, 17, 19 actually, until 2019. Can you see, the figure is upgrading, the scale is going up actually. But in the 2020 the figure went down all of a sudden. But of course it didn't go to the zeros or those scratches what happened to the international travel actually. So somehow still it's safe, but still a number of stakeholders couldn't survive. Even a five-star number of five-star hotels also shut down. Nice restaurants also shut down their businesses. Travel agent, well, they were already affected due to the OTAs actually, but now due to pandemic they couldn't survive in the industry, so they also shut down. But domestic tourism is growing very fast, and the last 6 months government have opened all the states, and I have seen that people are traveling. We were locked down for 8 months consecutively, 8 months in a house actually, because there was a MCO and we couldn't go, we couldn't travel actually. Being a tourism a lecturer, I like to travel actually, because when I travel I see several things and I use those examples in my classes actually. But 8 months is too much, and when after 8 months they open the borders to travel within the country, within the 1 month I travel to 4 different states. But of course, the very first, the decision making factors have been changed. Earlier affordability was one of the major concern, but now secure safety and security or the traffic become the first and the most important concern to choose the destination or a place to stay. Domestic tourism driving the recovery in your destination. Somehow this is another report, research conducted by UNWTO actually throughout the world. Several destinations mentioned yes, some said partially, some said no actually. So domestic tourism, so as you can see in the dark blue color actually, majority of the countries mentioned yes, that domestic tourism is one of the path which can influence, which can help us to recover the tourism industry faster. We cannot wait until the international tourism is open or the borders are open and so on. And due to the pandemic actually there is a shift in trends, a shift in demands, a shift in travel demographics actually. Earlier everyone was traveling for several reasons before pandemic, but now it's focused actually. Not everyone like to travel, or not everyone is allowed to travel actually. Senior citizens are those with a high risk or control actually, or we can say the millennials or the new generation, they are free to travel, and of course travel to those destinations where they are allowed to, or those are open, or those are safe, etc. Travel and tourism sustainability become very focused. Wellness, spa, we become very health conscious also. Well, before pandemic, not this trend was not that common, but after pandemic or during this pandemic actually we all become very health conscious. Travel security and resistance, well, it was resilience. It was also not everyone's spoon of or we can say cup of tea, but now it become very very common. And if we go further in a detail, actually, as you can see in this the circle diagram, there are several industries actually which got affected due to the tourism industry got affected, because tourism industry is the one which is taking from several industries. So we can say, if you look at the economy as a whole, several industries are directly or indirectly contributing to the tourism industry. And when the tourism industry get affected, actually those all get affected. The concept of revenge travel also become very very common. Like just now I mentioned the example of I was locked for 8 months, and when I was allowed, means when MCO was lifted, I could travel to different states of Malaysia. I took the revenge. I went here, I went there, I went to the 4 different states within a month actually. But that was not my trend of travel actually. Probably after every 4 weeks, 6 weeks, we used to travel, but within a month to 4 different states, it was quite hectic. But we were having high hope. We were quite eager to travel actually. And this is good as well as bad also, because COVID-19 is, well, is opportunity or crisis actually. It depends on the personality, that how do you take actually. For some businesses, for some individual, it become opportunity as well, like different businesses as well as the destinations, because destination themselves went on vacation. There was no traffic, there was no congestion, there was no littering or the throwing rubbish actually. So the destination, the islands were taking a nice breath, and they were getting ready to give us more in a future. And we have achieved that, we have absorbed that actually. So we don't need to put the different islands on maintenance mode, how we have seen in the Philippines. The young generation, this is the new trend which I have discussed in the just earlier slide, the circle diagram. The young generation or the millennials are more who are traveling, or who have seen the different who have seen the picture in actual, compared to the different generations in one go. Localities, rather than going overseas actually, we have traveled in our localities, in neighboring destinations, or with domestic tourism become very common actually. I have seen number of people who haven't traveled, they don't know much about their own country, but they have traveled to several international destinations. So this is the time, or due to the COVID-19, they have explored their own country, they have explored their own local destination as well. Travel will involve nearly destination. Of course, economy travel will recover more quickly. It depends that is it affordable or not. But eventually, it's a general practice. What I can see, the research mentions that due to the pandemic, the travel become more expensive. Flights are cut down, and now whoever would like to travel, they have to pay extra. The quarantine fees is there, and some more we have to do this PCR test, COVID-19 test here and there a few times before departure, after arrival. So that is also a cost which increase our overall cost. Outdoor nature and wellness related destination are very very common, rather than going to the shopping malls or those closed and congested places. There is another study was conducted by UNWTO which mentions that what type of tour, or people like to travel solo, people like to travel in a group, small groups, huge groups, what we used to see earlier. Self-guided tours are very common. Likely, some mention definitely, some mention likely, definitely for self-drive and self-guided. So self-guided means they want to go by their own, drive by their own. They don't want any driver. They don't need any sort of tour guide or anyone who can help them to explore the destination. And a group of guided tour, well, still there are some who would like to travel in a smaller group, probably a family, or those well-known people actually who uh, are coming from the same family or same community or same area actually. Guided tours or cruise tours are not those in focus. due to the pandemic. And this research was conducted at the global level actually. So this gives us a picture that people are very very conscious about their safety, security, hygiene, more towards the wellness. Where are they going, what are they eating, what are they doing, and they are very conscious about their health. So these all were the motives actually why the domestic tourism should be in a focus, and why it have been in a focus recently, because it won't take much time like international tourism to bring back the normal situation what we have, what we were having pre-pandemic in 2019. With that regard, thank you so much. These are my connecting contact details. Actually, you can connect me on ResearchGate, LinkedIn, social media. Also, you can explore my TLS University portal account. With that regard, thank you so much. I wish you all the best and stay safe. Thank you.